Yo, what's up, and welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing something different. I'm going to be listening to this debate about pro feminism and those who are not pro feminism. So, without further ado, let's check out this debate. I'm going to be putting in my commentary throughout the debate, so you'll have to bear with me. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into it.
How is it sexism when we have no barriers today? So we can pick what we want to pick.
Who doesn't have barriers?
Women don't have barriers?
Women, yeah. What's
We have
stopping
no
you? You can do
barriers.
whatever you want.
I can
you?
or you can?
What's stopping you?
Should we mark this bad boy at all?
Oh my goodness.
Here we go.
Hi, welcome everybody. I'm Liz Landers. I'm Vice News' chief political correspondent, and we are here today to talk about some of the biggest issues dividing women across the country. In other words, we're here to talk about feminism. First, I just want to say we know we can't represent everybody's views, but we did try our best to bring together a diverse group of women today. In today's polarized world, is feminism dead? I saw your hand.
I think that depends on the definition of feminism. I strongly think that feminism is more of an action than an identity. I would say it's uplifting all women, in which case it's very alive. At the same time, if we do follow that definition, feminism has splintered off into so many different areas that you can look at people like Sheryl Sandberg who say you should just get another nanny if you feel oppressed. And if we're talking about that kind of feminism, yeah, it's pretty dead.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the human race exists, feminism will never be dead. There's something that we're always going to have to strive and work towards to make sure that there's equality. So feminism is not dead.
I don't know that it can die. As long as there's power and oppression, there will be people fighting for equity. And until that somehow goes away, feminism is alive and well.
I think feminism isn't actually about equality. It's about equality when it benefits us. I think feminism is really about women wanting special privileges and treatment at the expense of men often. And I think it's alive and well, sadly.
I think feminism is also alive and well. There are different kinds of feminism, right? Like, that is obvious. And for me, as a womanist, as a Black feminist, right, as someone who's really thinking about human rights, dignity, right, equity, right?
And even before we go further, I just wanted to stop right there because I forgot to say in my introduction that if you didn't already notice, I react to most of these videos because I'm African myself. I react to it, giving an African insight on some of the things that they are going to be saying. So when this person said she's Black, that is when I remembered I should have mentioned that I'm also obviously Black and African. So keep that in mind when I'm going to be putting in my opinion. I'm going to be giving it an African perspective. So bear with me.
As long as that need isn't met, we're still going to keep fighting.
I'd say it's alive and well. I'd say that it's also very nuanced, and I think what it looks like is going to differ depending on where you are in the world. For me, I just see it as a lens, which isn't necessarily antagonistic or protagonistic. It's just a useful tool.
Similar to what Pearl just said, I find that a lot of feminist ideology and thought today feels more of like a supremacist movement rather than something that is supposed to be advancing the goals of equality. I don't think that we can really term what's going on as feminism because it looks so different to, I think, the earlier feminist movements. So in that way, I would say it's taken its last breaths of life. It's dying.
Yeah, I definitely think it's getting more and more radicalized, for sure. So it's definitely still alive.
I think I'll preface and say that I don't know so much about modern Western feminism, and there might be a lot of terms that I don't know, like political jargon and stuff. But I believe in the advancement of women, whoever considers themselves a woman. I think there's a deficiency in society. So it's
like you mean whoever considers themselves a woman. So Okay, that's a little bit because I think when we say feminist, we mean we are talking about females. I don't think there should be any further explanation on that. When you say feminist, I think it only relates to women or things to do with women. So I don't think it's just. And what do you mean by when you say anyone who considers themselves? I'm a little bit, but maybe it's just the beginning. Let's
rooted that feminism has always existed. I think America's a little obsessed with themselves, and it's like always feminism is rooted in America. And like, oh, white women started it. And it's kind of offensive because for thousands of years, women have been dying for their rights.
I think as a Black woman specifically, when you talk about feminism, the mainstream first thing you think about is a certain type of feminism that tends to exclude still, even today, even with intersectional feminism, exclude African-American women. And it's always kind of done that. Upper middle.
No. Black woman, let me disagree with you for a minute because, like I said, I'm from Africa. And also in Africa, this thing of feminism, all these ideologies are catching on. So what would you say? I don't know her name. This woman right here in the frame right now. What if she came to Africa where we are, like my country, where we are 99% Black people? What should you go with? The sober story. You're a Black woman? No, we are 99% Black. So I would think the issue of race should be kept out of this discussion. If they're going to go on with this, I think race, anything special that you have, it should be kept out of this, just to make it a fair discussion.
Class white women has predominantly been the face of what we quote unquote consider feminism.
I think feminism is attempting to say, okay, the first thing we agree on is that there are barriers and friction to what I need and what I want based on the fact that I'm a woman. What it ignores is that, and what privilege is that you may not have to think that being a woman and being a Black woman and being a Black woman who has a disability, for example, impacts you further. You have more barriers.
You see where this goes, because the first person came up with the Black thing. The other person is disabled. So you can see where it can never end, because if everyone came up with their personal story, I'm Black, I'm disabled, I'm this and this, I'm this and this, then where does it end? Where can these people, it means it's endless. It almost becomes nonsensical. Okay, but
more friction, you are less able to get what you want. You're undervalued in a way that's like, okay, well, that's life. That's what I mean by equity, and that we're able to, without friction, all get the same needs met.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. See, I disagree with that. I think life is easier if you're a girl. Actually, I think there's a lot of benefits that men don't have. I'm not going to speak anything to race. I'm just talking about gender specifically. It's usually like an excuse. Like, honestly, I think as a girl, you have equal opportunity in the world. I think there's benefits. Like, for example, we have quotas for women in specific jobs that are given to us that aren't given to men. So yeah, I would say it's easier being a girl.
Just from a viewpoint over here, though, it seems there's a lot of pretty privilege in what you're saying, and that you're white and you present.
Do you think I'm pretty? Thank you.
No. Let me stop it right there. Sorry for stopping it. I didn't want to keep stopping it, but let me put in a point there, because like I live in China. I've been here for several years. And the first point that the other woman came up with, that being a girl is easier. For example, we come from Africa to China, and it's a very different society, but you find it's easier being a girl. I wouldn't say it's a privilege, but it's easier for you if you're a girl. So I don't think that is an invalid point. It has nothing to do with feminism. It has nothing to do with privilege, because being born male or female, there's no privilege there. Human beings are human beings. So putting it that the way the woman in the wheelchair is putting it, that being born female is an automatic disadvantage. I would quash that with saying that from experience, I have seen that no, she's mistaken.
Way that beauty standards have accepted. And so
they call me ugly on the internet all the time. They be roasting me daily, I swear to God.
I don't mean to say I think you're gorge. I just mean that there a certain value that we give to certain bodies.
I mean, let's also dig into why these quotas exist and why these, what you're calling
because
privileges
we want
exist.
special treatment.
No, it's because there have historically and presently in most jobs been fewer women and because of sexism.
How is it sexism when we have no barriers today? So we can
Who
pick
has
what
no
we want to
barriers?
pick.
It doesn't have barriers.
Women don't have barriers?
Women, yeah. What's
We have
stopping
no
you? You can do
barriers.
whatever you want.
I
stopping
can
you?
or you can?
What's stopping you? As a woman, as a woman.
As a woman.
As a woman, as a woman.
That ignores a lot that I'm a woman with a disability. So
No. That was my first point. Don't bring in other personal stories because I don't believe that when we start going to everyone's, each and everyone's personal life, we find so many barriers. I wouldn't call them barriers because I hate that word, saying barriers, because when you say barriers, it also depends on your personal motivation, how you feel about yourself. Also, of course, disability is I would say is an inconvenience. It will add to that, but I wouldn't say that being a woman specifically, being born a woman, you are automatically a disadvantaged human being. So that is something that I think there's a problem there. When you say that you see where this is going. The first one said she's black and she's an woman. The second one, she's a woman and she's disabled. But now you see the other person who is trying to be more liberal is saying, let's stick this to just being women. Because when we go to details, what about a person who is black and disabled and or has one eye, has HIV/AIDS and has COVID? What if we go down to all those rabbit holes? So I think if this debate was about feminism, let's stick to being to womanhood, being a woman, and I think that would be just
stopping me that you don't have to think about.
Well, as I said before, I'm speaking about women. I'm not.
You're speaking for yourself.
You're speaking as an able-bodied
white woman.
I understand. Of course, there's going to be other barriers if you're disabled. I'm sure. Like I'm talking about as a woman.
So you're just going to ignore
white
the
women
pay
have it
gap.
easier. Yes. I would agree.
What?
You're just going to ignore the pay gap, regulation over bodies.
The pay gap has been disproven and debunked.
The pay gap doesn't exist.
My friend.
It doesn't. It's the industries that women pick.
Let's talk about it.
There's a pay gap, but it's because women don't want to do the hardest industries.
I don't think it's that simple. I think that's an oversimplification. I think the fact of the matter is that women structure their lives differently to men. Men don't give birth. Men don't have to carry pregnancies. Men don't have to be the primary caregiver most of the time. Women also don't hold jobs for as long as men do. They often will stop and start. They'll go back into work. They'll take time off. They'll take part-time jobs. The way that men work and women work are astronomically different. And to try to say that they're comparable is where this issue comes from. They're not comparable.
Two things.
I would agree. That is one thing that these feminists, these woke people, all these kind of equity and equality thing that they try to bring in, that's where they get it wrong. A man and a woman, they are not comparable. You cannot compare a woman and a man because they are so different that trying to compare them and trying to say, now, okay, we need a man to be equal to a woman. That can never happen. It will never happen. It's not realistic. It's not based on reality. So I think she's very right. They are not comparable because as she's giving experiences of a woman, you see, that is very different from a man's, the way she has said, even the type of careers they take, they take off, their schedule with their careers is very different. So trying to equate them, that you would expect that a woman bus driver would be equal to a man bus driver is just being delusional. It will never happen because they have just based on their gender, they are so different. So they'll have different experiences.
First of all, let's dig into why they think that they should take these jobs, which is societal sexism. And then also, Department of Labor, all statistics, at least speaking in the US, have found that when compared for the same jobs, there still is a pay gap, particularly when it pertains to race.
Because 60% of women have never asked for a raise. So how can you complain about your pay if you don't ask for it?
Why are they not?
What happens when women ask for raises? Sorry, I've been wanting to say something, but I want to be respectful. I don't want to interrupt people, and I want to let them finish their thoughts.
Jump in,
but
go through the wall.
It is a very privileged label, right, to be able to say that you're feminist, right? And I say that because I come from a working class background of Dominican immigrant parents.
No.
My mother would not necessarily identify as a feminist. I look to my mother, and I do think of her as a feminist. A lot of my ideas and my empowerment comes from seeing her survive and put food on the table. When I'm thinking about feminism, I'm always thinking about who's not part of the conversation. What are the barriers? How do we think about equity? How do we think about self-empowerment and agency and having a voice, right? And having choice and thinking about our basic human rights, education, access to health, homes, having bread, having food. And those things are very important, right? And they're at the crux, right? Of what a lot of us here know that we need. It's there are the barriers, right, that we constantly ignore.
No, you are wrong. Housing, getting bread, that is what called being privileged. You think that, then you have the wrong idea about maybe depending on the society you come from, but you think that is what should be happening. As I said, I come from Africa, and I can definitely say she's wrong. You are wrong on that. So what she means is that, what about the women in Africa? What can she say about that? What about the men, women, and children in other areas of the world? So what can she say about that? I know this debate is around the US, but as I said, I'm reacting as an African and giving it that feel. Because that is being so ignorant and so insensitive to any information that exists.
That are very much systemic and microaggressive, right? We see them and experience them every day.
Like what in the U.S.?
So,
like what?
What would you like to know an example of?
I know you said that there's barriers. I want to know what barriers in the U.S. today as a woman.
Well, as a woman or as a woman of color? Let's be specific.
No. Don't go there. Don't even go there. Because, as I said again, if everyone started saying, I'm of color, I'm disabled, then where does it end? Where does it end? I can say I'm of color, I'm disabled, I'm from Yemen, I'm from Pakistan, I'm from Pakistan in the right side of the mountain or in the left side of the mountain, and in that side of the mountain I live in the jungle area, not the deforested area. So where does this classification end? So you have to be, as this woman is right, the one in the turtleneck, let's keep it male versus female.
Woman, I said we don't. Woman.
Well, no, I can't answer as a woman.
I just feel like your question
right?
is kind of hostile when you're like, there are no barriers to what I want. Congratulations. That means you have a privilege where you're not facing any friction, and that's showing. And I feel like it's
I think as an American, you're very privileged.
I'm not ignoring that.
We're at a basic level of what the feminist movement is when it comes to just being born a woman, right? Physically, pound for pound, we are born as women and we have less lean muscle mass than men. So there are issues of violence and assault and stuff like that. And so therefore, there are policies, there are things to help women physically, like, for example, I believe being able to carry
I don't believe in a developed society like America. I don't think this thing of being a muscular, we are not in the caveman days, so I don't think where that comes in, because I don't think it factors, even in Africa today, I don't think it factors in anywhere, being that men are more muscular, they are bigger. No, I don't think. I think that has to do with your self-esteem. It has nothing to do with the men having an advantage, because okay, let's see where this
being able to use that safely to defend yourself against men who are born naturally with more muscle mass than a woman.
I keep hearing the term equity. What would a world that has equity look like? Like, would it be 50% of everyone in the same jobs? Would it be like prison, 50%?
That's equality.
50%.
Yeah,
So what does equity look like?
So equity is generally described as a state of fairness because historically a lot of people have been arguing for equality, but what does that give us? Like 0.5 of the 1% being woman. This doesn't really do anything for us. And so people have talked about equity instead, which is instead of sameness, it's fairness. And this would mean that we remove systemic barriers to engage in society, not just for women, but also for everyone.
Fair chance to engage in society. So that means if we have 50,000 coal miners in the country, we should have like 25%, 25,000 of them being women, or what does it mean? Because look at most security forces in the world. Most of them will be the people in the forefront will be men. But I don't think that is a disadvantage or that is being unfair to anyone. It's just the reality of the situation. Because as the other woman said a few minutes ago, women have a different, their life entails. What happens in a woman's life is different from a man's. A man can have a 20-year military career, which doesn't affect his. He wouldn't need to go off duty or do some of these things. But now, when she says that there should be equal chance, I think the chance is there. Is that the women don't take it, and it is not their blame. We cannot blame them. It's just they are different from men. That's why I say equating men and women. We'd be doing it's a loss of judgment there, because we are not taking into accountability their personal life
Barriers.
Those barriers that you don't believe in.
What does it do for you to have a bunch of ramps in your life? It doesn't do shit. I need those ramps, right?
Can we stick to male versus female? That's my question. So I'm thinking male versus female.
But feminism includes ability, it includes
my
race.
question is,
You
for
guys
women,
can talk.
women versus men. Like what barriers do we need removed? Because that's my statement. I'm not stating anything else. I'm stating women versus men.
It's very silly.
So what barrier? I just want
The question
it's a
is
fair
silly.
question.
So
It's not a fair question. It's
how is it not a fair question?
Kind of proving the point of what people, especially Black women, other people who are anybody who's not white.
You see what I'm having an issue here with. The first person is going with the disability. This woman speaking right now is going with being Black. And the woman is the other one asking the question is going, let's stick this to just men versus women. So everyone want to come in with their sob story, their personal life. And that is why I said, when we go down that road, then then it's no hold back. It cannot end. Everyone will come up. My parent is a single mom. Everyone will come up with their own story. Someone will say, I'm from which part of the world, I'm this and that, I didn't go to school. Everyone can come up with their own standard, their own quote-unquote barrier. So I don't think...
Why we hear feminism and we don't want that label because it means... I'm just going to say, it means that. Like, it means that you've already gotten to a pinnacle of whatever you think your happiness needs or whatever your survivalist needs are, when there are people on lower end who are trying to survive, who are trying to get to a point of what should be normal, based on what other people have.
It sort of sounds like you're saying feminism is not always inclusive then.
Right. It's most of the time it's not inclusive.
Exactly.
It's more times than not, it's not. So, and within the just feminism space, again, there obviously the very basic is male versus female versus, but unfortunately, we've only had one subset of women be the face and voice and the academics and research and everything to be able to say, well, that's the standard we need to be in, when there are other people who are still trying to get to some type of normalcy and just living.
What is the biggest issue then that feminism faces?
I think it's the mindset. women taking like the agency, women taking initiative. I think it's mindset holding them back a lot, because if you want to be in a competitive world and compete, you have to have the right mindset. And I think a lot of people blame their lack of confidence or what society tells them for the reason that they're not achieving what they need to achieve.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just look at this woman. She's so mad. I would agree with that, because sometimes when you meet like women who are doing a job that is predominantly male, you ask yourself, what is so special about them, or what have they done extra so that they can stand out from the rest of the women? And sometimes I don't get that answer, because when you work, like in my work, when you work with, you find that there's nothing that they have done extra. It's just that they are confident. They are, first of all, let's just rewind. First of all, they approached the situation. They applied for the job. They showed up for the interview. Then they have the right qualifications for that particular job. And then they have the confidence. Nowhere in the application did they come up and say, "Oh, you see, I'm a woman." No, nothing like that happened. That happens everywhere. When you meet a woman who is driving a backhoe, or whichever one of those jobs that is mostly dominated by men, you ask them their story, and you almost, let me say from my experience, 90% of them, you find that they are, first of all, they are very confident, and nowhere do they mention any of that, those barriers that they are mentioning. "Oh, you see, I'm a woman, I'm a black woman, I'm a disabled woman." No, first of all, they say, "This is my certificate from the technical college. I did this. I actually have experience." They don't talk about anywhere about being feminine.
When that's not the case, you have to have the mindset of achieving, because the men who built the world had the mindset of building it. So the women who want to engage and build that further, they need to have that same mindset.
I don't think we do. I think that's like assuming that we all want to be capitalist babies.
Right.
I think that men are not well adjusted in the society, and women are not trying to re-embody what they have built for us.
No. I think that also has to be. You cannot choose to be a weakling and then complain about being a weakling. Because if you say men choose to be capitalists, then the world is dominated by that. Then how else are you going to have your breakthrough? You cannot choose one thing and then contradict yourself in trying to achieve rights for the
I think that like what we're forgetting is a very important detail, which is just like human respect and dignity.
Yeah,
and not asking people to prove what their experience is and to prove to you. Like, it is like such conservative thinking to say, like, I don't understand, explain it to me, versus just saying, I don't understand, and let me respect what you are saying.
I'm respecting wherever your starting point. I'm respecting that. I'm really respecting that. I'm saying that if you don't have the mindset you can even achieve it, you're never going to even try. So it's never.
Achieve what? Like, what are we talking about? Because I feel like you projected this like capitalist ideology on every woman.
Achieve whatever it is you're looking for, equality, equity. But what I'm saying is women in the feminist space and a lot of these other spaces, we don't acknowledge that we have to take the initiative. We have to take the action. We have to have the mindset. We have to demand those things.
I don't understand how we're getting so off topic. This is about feminism today, whereas everybody wants to make this about their individual, here are all the multitude of other things that factor into my person. Great. This is about feminism. It's about womanhood. I understand that all of you have your own individual experiences and the other things that feed into you as a person. That's perfectly fine. But this is where intersectionality falls off the planet and loses, I would argue, probably the vast majority of people, including me. I'm not even a feminist. I don't give a crap about feminists arguing amongst themselves about who's the most victimized. But this is annoying to listen to. I honestly I don't understand anything anybody's even trying to get at.
Look, I just want to say that I don't think equity and this concept of competition can't coexist with each other. Equity is building more facilities for people who need them. It is recognizing that there are holes in the market and there's opportunities for women and feminine expansive people and meeting those opportunities. I think equity can buoy the pre-existing system that we live in a good way.
And this is where we're going to get to.
So what are you saying? Sometimes I avoid posting the the video, but let's just go back. What did this person just say? It was a salad of words, and I don't
But
even
this is where
get the point.
intersectionality falls off the planet and loses, I would argue, probably the vast majority of people, including me. I'm not even a feminist. I don't give a crap about feminists arguing amongst themselves about who's the most victimized. But this is annoying to listen to. I honestly I don't understand anything anybody's even trying to get at.
Look, I just want to
Yeah,
say
pay
that I
attention.
don't think equity and this concept of competition can't coexist with each other. Equity is building more facilities for people who need them. It is recognizing that there are holes in the market and there's opportunities for women and feminine expansive people and meeting those opportunities. I think equity can buoy the pre-existing system that we live in a good way.
And this is where we're going to get to what I think the real feminist
It is
arguments are.
for me, and this is, I don't mean to be rude or mean, but all these fancy words, this can buoy in a good way and opportunities. But can you make like one sentence? What are you trying to say? Just go straight for it. Don't fear hurting anyone. Just go straight for it. But all this, there's all these opportunities and all this buoying. Why can't you just go straight to the point? If you are not eating your words and if you are not just coming up with some word salad, go straight to the point. What are you trying to say?
Are based off of policy, and abortion is the biggest one.
How many of you would identify as pro-choice? Let's do a show of hands for pro-choice.
I feel like pro-choice is pro-life, though.
Yeah.
Okay, and folks who identify as pro-life? Why do you identify as each?
You've gone from legal, safe, rare to, yeah, I'm so proud. Let me beatbox in front of a Planned Parenthood. Yeah, I got murder on my mind. The fact that it's celebrated that murdering children, especially in late-term pregnancies, is celebrated, that people are so proud.
And that's, folks, today I'm going to stop there because I didn't want to go. I wanted to focus more on that debate about feminism. And I think when it comes to this pro-choice thing, the debate's it gets more out of hand for me because it is mostly in the US. It has not been digested as much, and we are still waiting to see where the debate and all these rival forces where they'll come to an agreement in. But that was just my first part. The second part I'll drop it later, but I'm going to continue with this. Because if you have not seen my videos by the way, just scroll down. I will not give you or not hype up any of my videos. Just go down and you'll see most of the topics which I talk about, and then you'll get to know where I'm coming from. So that's it for today. If you have not subscribed, kindly subscribe. Let's engage in the comments. Let me know what you think about my review in the comments. And till next time, make sure you stay safe. Peace.